What's going on, YouTubers? It's the Dividend Income Bloodhound here with a portfolio update. The first one of the new year. So, there's been some changes to the portfolio since I last did an update. I sold Caterpillar for almost a record price. It was 18% up. So I sold it for about £50 profit at about $148 a share, and I bought it at $112. Now the reason I did this was because I worked out that by selling it for that amount of profit, it was about £8 years worth of dividend payments. So I thought I would crystallise the profit and then reinvest this money into other stocks that were at a discount and hopefully grow my money that way. Still dividend paying stocks that I'd be buying into, but yeah, crystallising a profit and getting back out there with other stocks. Caterpillar, is a really good company, and I'm looking to get back into owning their stock, but I'll just wait for a dip in their share price because I believe their share price is quite high at the moment, and their revenue is actually declining. The amount of diggers they've sold, the amount of trucks they've sold is actually in decline. I don't think this has been properly reflected in the share price yet, so I'm going to wait for a dip and then I'll probably buy to get back in there again, because I do actually quite like the company. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. I currently have £2,361 in my portfolio. I have 84% of that allocated in stocks, and I have 16% spare in cash at the moment, and I have £378 spare to invest. I'll come on to why I'm waiting for that in a couple of moments or two. But basically, I sold CAT and I bought Boeing. I bought a stock in Boeing at just the wrong time, as you can see there. Just in time for another 6% dip in the share price. Timed that a bit wrong, and with the spare money from that, I also bought a share in Abbvie, which also decided to drop a couple of points as well, unfortunately. I don't really have an issue with Boeing dropping its price like that, because it is experiencing issues right now, and I believe the price that I originally paid was a fair price anyway, so a 6% decline on that just makes it even more of a bargain, and that money in my account that you've just seen will potentially buy me another Boeing share and potentially another Abbvie share, but I'll have a look into it a bit more, because I might even plump for an IBM share because that's at a discount as well. Anyway, back to actually updating you all on where my portfolio is at. So my biggest position is still AT&T that we have here, £354 invested and currently sitting 1% up for 12 shares. I'm £3.57 up on the position, and it is currently my biggest position and a really good dividend payer. No plans to change this at all. If it dips back in the red, I might find some money from somewhere to add an extra couple of shares. 3M is the next largest position in my portfolio for now. It is currently 5.3% up at $176 a share, and I'm £13.40 up. Now this has been buoyed. 3M has been buoyed by semi-decent performance and their sale of their drugs delivery system. They're currently going to sell it for $650 million. But still retain a decent share in the company itself, or the part of the company they're selling, but they're just going to, it's a money making part of the share. I'm not sure how long the gain on the investment will last, but it's a really good yield. I've got no qualms with holding this one. I'm going to continue to hold it until it goes back in the red, where I'll try and buy another one at a later date. Next up, we have Coca-Cola sitting there at £250 for 6 shares and 1.4% up. Had the dividend payments. Investing teacher, thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Coca-Cola, sat there, still okay. £3.50 up across the investment. for 6 shares. They paid me their dividend last month, which was quite nice to hit the bank. That was on my Instagram. I posted the actual picture of the return. In fact, it might even be in the activity here. There it is. Yeah, got a nice £1.54 return. Anyway, back to the portfolio. Boeing is sat here now, not quite minus 6% anymore, minus 5.96. Price is currently at $3.25 a share. I paid more like $3.30, $3.40, I think, or maybe slightly more than that actually. I'm down £15 on it. Current value is $2.45. I paid $2.61, but I think this is still. I didn't pay a bad price, and when you see how high Boeing's price could go up into the $400 mark, and it spends most of its time around the $380 mark, I don't think this will be too bad. I've just got to play the long game and wait for the stock to get back to where it should be, and for Boeing to regain their crown as the world's largest aerospace company and the fastest plane producer. Their fundamentals are quite strong. They have got significant issues with the Max, as already mentioned before, but their other models are absolutely fine. They still have to maintain them. They're still producing them. They've got huge military contracts with the Globemaster aircraft and numerous other aircrafts that they're part of, like the Hornet, and big contracts with the US Navy, the US Air Force, the US government as a whole, and many other countries around the world in terms of military and commercial airlines. So I'm not overly concerned about this at all, and I'm pretty much sure to plump for another share shortly, as it seems to have. I've been watching it, and it seems to have bottomed out at about a 6% down, so at about 2.45. I'm going to keep an eye on it for today, and then probably buy again another share potentially tomorrow. Pepsi is next. I hold £206 worth of this company. It's dropped 1.6 for 2 shares. It's dropped £3.40 in price. Nothing really to be concerned about here. They're just plodding on, ups and downs of the market, just to continue to hold and carry on. IBM is probably my underperforming stock. I currently own £202 worth of 2 shares and 4.8% down, and this share has been down pretty much since the day I bought it. I bought 2 shares, and then overnight it dropped 4%, and that's where it has stayed. I'm considering using my spare money that I've got to buy another IBM share. They do have a really good yield, and they've paid up a decent dividend not so long ago as well, I believe. Yeah, £2.09 on the 10th of December. £2.09 on the 10th of December. So that's already taken away £2 of that loss, so I'm only £8 down really. And the longer I hold this stock, the better it will be. If I buy another stock, I'll average down that loss as well. So I'm definitely potentially looking into that. McDonald's is sat where I pretty much brought it at. It's 0.7% down, £150 for 1 share. And it hasn't moved since I've owned it now. So I bought it in October, and it's pretty much stayed at around this point. It will probably grow over time, but I don't expect any major moves up and down with this stock anytime soon. I'm £1 down on it at the moment. Next is Royal Dutch Shell. I own 5 shares valued at £113, 1.35% up at the moment, which is £1.50, and I paid £22 a share. Happy with this stock, wanting to add to my energy stocks over time, but I'll catch BP up to Shell first, I think. So BP I own £67 worth at 14 shares, and it's 0.7% up. I'll also wait for it to dip in the red before I buy again, which is just the way I do things. Yeah, there we go. I'm currently 50p up. They paid their dividends not so long ago as well. We've got Shell there, paid me £1.40, and BP paid me 39p. And there you can see my sell order for Shell and the buy order of Boeing. Back to the portfolio. The next one was AbbVie. Excited to get into the healthcare sector. I do want to add to this position with AbbVie because their yield is so strong. They are currently one share for £66.80, 2.5% down on when I bought it, and that happened exactly the same. I bought the share and it dropped £1.50 straight, 2.5%, dropped £1.50 almost immediately. Not really sure what caused this, but it just did. But I'm comfortable with AbbVie. It's an exciting company. It's still got the patent on the drug that is their main income, and they've got that for another 6 months to a year, maybe a bit longer. And they've got some exciting drugs in the pipeline that will continue to have them as market leaders. And their propensity for giving dividend raises and the stock price rising is so good that it's an opportunity not to be missed, and I'm excited to add healthcare to my portfolio. I'm hopefully going to add Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer and GSK to that. As you can see there on my watch list, Johnson & Johnson is not, by the look of it. Don't know why it isn't, but no, it is not. I will add that on there because I do want to add Johnson & Johnson to my portfolio as well. Anyway, moving on, we have commercial property. 25 shares owned of this one, valued at £29.13p, up 0.24%. This is a monthly dividend payer. I'm up 7p on it, as you can see. Haven't had a dividend from this stock yet because I haven't actually owned it for long enough. And it will probably only be from the first one. Is a monthly payer, so this will eventually equate out. And this is a perfect stock for reinvesting your dividends. It's only £1.16 a share, so I'm certainly going to add to this portfolio over time. Add to this portfolio over time with the drip reinvested dividends. Legal and General is still sitting quite high up after the general election result. It was my only stock affected by the general election result. I know that a lot of people experienced some huge gains after that result, which prompted some to sell and crystallise their profit, and I do not blame people for doing that if I'd made that much money. However, unfortunately, because my stock was owned only a few less than £20 worth, I've only ended up £2.60 up, so I haven't really bothered to sell it. However, I am considering it. It's stayed at 16% up. I might sell it, and that will give me an extra 2 shares for the commercial property group. But this leaves me, I still don't have much of a finance section to my portfolio. I only have HSBC and Legal and General, and I do need to add to this at some point and actually get a good investment in there, because finance is such a big part of our country and our economy, and I'm not really taking much advantage of that at the moment. And last but not least, we have HSBC, 2 shares, 15p up. Not too much to say about that one. Current value £11.90. We'll look to add to this position in the slightly longer term. Next time I have some money. And then a quick gloss over my watch list. Obviously, Johnson & Johnson is missing, but I am looking to add healthcare and finance as a matter of urgency. Lockheed Martin is another aspiration long term. My big thing at the moment is going to be adding ETFs as well. So throughout this year, keep a lookout for me adding all these ETFs to my portfolio to make sure that I've got some diversified risk in my portfolio for a large portion of my money. I'm going to make another video about I'm transferring Funding Circle or some of my Funding Circle portfolio into this account, and to de-risk that, I'm going to pull it into ETFs. I think these high dividend ones, and then the one that Warren Buffett always says to go for, which is a low cost VUSA SP500 stock tracker. So I'm definitely getting onto that. These tech companies here, I'm not massively wanting to get hold of them too much. But it would be nice to add them in the long term. Same with MasterCard and Visa. Some of these I've got on here out of pure interest, really, rather than actually an intention to buy them. Although if an opportunity presents itself, I probably will take advantage of it. Starbucks is a definite one that I really want to add, just to take advantage of its growth, along with Colgate and Palmolive and Home Depot, and definitely Procter and Gamble. I'm just listing loads of stocks now. It's just like a shopping list. Unilever is one that would be good to get sooner rather than later, as it is already at a discount. I'm just following some of these as a, like I say, out of interest. UPS, I would quite like to get into the logistics side of things. CAT, if there's a dip, as I've already mentioned, and renewables, infrastructure and robotics is something else to look for growth, definitely in 2020. Also, one last thing, Nike is certainly something to look at, and the other sporting stocks like Adidas. With the Olympics coming this year in July time, there is bound to be a spike in the share price after the Olympics, because sales will massively go up. It's happened after the last 2 or 3 Olympic Games, I believe, according to an article on Seeking Alpha. So it's definitely worth looking into for sure. That about wraps me up for this update. Nothing left to say, but if you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave any feedback if you've got any feedback for me. Would you invest in Boeing? I'm plump for it, but some of you might be a bit more overt to it than I am. But I'm definitely down for gambling a little bit with Boeing and throwing the dice on it at the moment. I'll wait until I see you in the next video. See you all soon.